look onto the important news articles. We are going to discuss it on June 10th. Sorry. A very good morning, students. So today we are going to start with the daily important articles inside the newspaper Hindu dated on June 10th, and the plan here is to use this video to identify the important articles in the newspaper which you have to read and why you have to read and what is its important for the UPSC Civil Services examination. Okay, now narrowing down straight away, we have this. First thing is that starting with the presidential poll scheduled on June 18th. So this is the first article that we see on the Hindu headlines or front page. So what it says about it is that presidential elections have been planned to be conducted on July 18th. So this is really important because we have GS2 Indian Constitution and Polity chapter where these all talks about what kind of election procedures they have and how they have to electing a president, who all are participating members. Because of that reason, this article is important. So the second most important part of this article is the person who is sitting here, Chief Election Commissioner. So who conducts election in India, what is their functions and power is very much important for the UPSC. So there is a subtopic in GS2 again which talks about the structure, power and functions of various bodies in India. So again, this is a constitutional body, what power it has, how it performs, everything has to be understood. So first article we have to discuss is this. Next, the second important article is that we have to know what is happening in and around India. So India and its neighborhood is very much important for us. So next comes monitoring the situation at Park.Mission. It is one of the important article that we have to see. It's because India and its neighborhood. Again, it is a GS2 international relationship, again bilateral relationship, and India and its neighborhood countries. What kind of pressure that India faces or what kind of country they are. So those details, what kind of mutual trades we have, is there any bilateral agreements we have, so those all has to be understood from this. So here you have to understand India and Pakistan relationship. Okay, so next important article that is listed on the front page is rhino reintroduction as a hit in Assams reserve. So this article talks about GS3 Indian environment. Okay, this article completely talks about GS3 Indian environment, and this article is very important because you have got a national park listed in them and it talks about Assam reserve, so that the UPSC can be a question asked. This national park is located in which of these states? In the match the following. And again, what is the role of rhino? What kind of status they have with respect to IUCN, and are they critically vulnerable? What kind of protections are there in case if they get poached? So what kind of threats they do face? Those all are important. Apart from that, this article describes why introducing rhinos into the Assam reserve is a threat. So what is the problem with respect to reintroducing the rhinos into the reserve? So that also you have to read it. Next, you can skip out the city and the city columns. So mostly it's because that the important articles would be asked on the state. Next article is about an interview that has been discussed, why there is a need for strong voices against climate of hate being spread. Okay, so this is something related to hate speech, so which is again could be an internal threat which is India facing. So you have to know what is hate speech and what kind of issues that it poses for the Indian and its unity. Okay, since Indian people are very much diverse in our number of peoples we having, so we all have our own cultures and customs. In that case, we should have a right thought of approach instead of spreading hate. So because of that, this is very important. So next, another important article which you see on the state column is that 70 elephants died in Karnataka in 2021, and these 15 have attributed to unnatural causes which has sparked conflict. So again, whenever there is a species that is mentioned in the newspaper, it is keen for us to understand because it could be asked in GS3 Indian Environment, where we are planning to conserve the species. What kind of protection do they have with respect to IUCN? So then what is very much important is their statistics or data. Say for an example, how much elephants we had, what kind of protection we give for elephants, those all has to be understood from this article. Okay, so again, this news talks about a particular state. Again, you can look at the other elephant reserves within India and other things, so that your topic on elephant is getting completed with this one article. Next, messy battle. A tug of war between the Lieutenant Governor and the CM is a barrier to the Delhi development. So again, this comes in the GS2, where they talk about various constitutional positions, various constitutional posts. So again, now always we all know that every state has an governor and every state has assembly. Who doesn't have an assembly is union territories. But in Delhi, even though it is being a union territory, it has states with them, assembly sitting onto them. So now there is a conflict between persons who is going to decide what is to be happened in Delhi. So because of that, you have to read this article whether it is going to hinder the Delhi's development or what kind of conflicts they do have. Okay, so next important article that we talk about is Karnataka's past. Again, it is not pretty important, but these keywords, whatever is mentioned for the conversation in cooperation, conflict in syncretism and dogmatism, these words are pretty much important for any UPSC things, because UPSC can play with these words in your essay topics. So for that reason, you have to know what does these words mean, what is the author trying to convey. So apart from that, you can skip out these articles. Next article is the enduring agreement bridging India-Pakistan. So we spoke about India-Pakistan relationship just a while back. So the same thing we are going to discuss on this. So they are talking about Indus Water Treaty. So I spoke, we have to know what kind of agreements we have and what is the current state between India and Pakistan. So for that purpose, this article is important. Again, GS2, international relationship and bilateral relationship. Next, the thing is that recently, you might have heard that there has been a hatred speech that has been given, and because of that, there is OIC, that is Organization of Islamic States, have opposed or condemned Indians' statement from the political parties. So because of that, Indian-Iran tie, where our foreign minister has in conversation with the Iran's foreign minister. So why this article is important? Again, because of the US pressure, India-Iran trade has slowly reduced, and because of that reason, we are talking about why India has to rebuild this trade. So because of that reason, this article is important. Again, GS2, international relationship and bilateral relationship. Okay, so recently, if you see a while back, because of the war in the Ukraine and Russia happening, so because of that reason, there has been quite few political crises that resulting in disruption in the supply chain because of fuel, food and other areas where there is a supply chain disruption. Because of that reason, the Indian government has took a plan to stop exporting wheat. So this article talks about whether that stopping the export of wheat policy is a good idea or not. So this is ultimately will give you a thought process of how India's trade exactly work or how it gets affected because of any particular reason. So again, GS3, this comes under Indian economy, trade. So apart from this, you have to be keen on noting on which place India is in wheat production and other which place are we topping in the production of agriculture and other crops. So because of that reason, this article is important. Please do read it. Next, art of diplomacy. In the world of global diplomacy, embarrassment befalls diplomatic incidents are on par of the course. So this is again because of the conflict that Indian political parties have stated over the Islamic states. Because of that, how these diplomatic crises have happened and what kind of thought process they do have and how this diplomatic discussions can stop from countries getting into waging wars and becoming an enemy countries. So how diplomacy is very important. So because of that, this article you have to read it once. So again, today data point talks about hospitalization, so which is not required. So we are skipping that point for the day. Again, Rajasthan reels under the relentless heat wave. So again, heat waves. So this comes under the topic GS1, geographical phenomena. So why heat waves occurs? What is the purpose of it causing? Where does it impact? What is its advantage and disadvantage? So those all has to be understood from this article. Okay. So here they are mostly talking about Rajasthan, but what we are planning to do is we are completely discussing more generic onto the geographical phenomena, what causes it, how much it impacts the quality of the crops, is wildlife threatened, is human life threatened. So those all has to be understood. Next, Indian patent regime and its clash with US norms. Okay, so you would have heard of this word patent rights, copyrights. So these all are some things. Whenever you find something innovative, you get a patent for this, and this gets into the GS3 Indian economy, that is trade, again WTO organization, where it talks about TRIPS, and that includes the intellectual property rights, IPR. So among that IPR, so what they do is they protect their inventions by claiming their patents, but how it is okay with respect to other countries, how India allocates its patent, how the other US are objecting it, whether there is a crisis, is there is a requirement of WTO to pitch in and resolve this. So these are the things that you have to learn from this article. Again, this is more about Rajya Sabha elections. So if you want to read about this, you can take this topic as GS2, where you talk about elections of Rajya Sabha. So who are the members who is going to be participating in this election? How are the MPs are going to be selected? Whether they are going to be nominated by somebody? So those all you can hand it over. Next, again, this page is having the continuity of the front page articles. As we discussed presidential election, you would be reading it, and down the line we'll see which are the other important articles that you have to see. Yes, so here comes one important article. India delivers 12 speedboat for patrol to Vietnam. So here we are going to again talk about GS2, India and its neighborhood, where what kind of defense cooperations we have. So this is ideally to talk about India-Vietnam relationship. Okay, so you can read what kind of support we give to Vietnamese and what kind of trade they do, trade us back, and that's why this is important. Okay. Okay, again this is US is attempting China's allegation against a particular things. So apart from that, if you see, there is no critical articles in this. Okay, Next, one more critical article from this page is Citizenship Amendment Act. So this is telling that it will not help us Bangladesh leader. So India has passed its Citizenship Amendment Act in the recent times, and it has planned to provide citizenship for a particular Bangladeshis and other non-Muslim communities for a certain reasons, and you have to know what are those reasons and what is the problems and other reasons. So again, this comes in GS2, Indian Constitution, citizenship. Okay, so next article we will see. Next important article on the Nations column or news column is Biotech Sector grow 8-fold. So here Modi's speech has been taken into consideration. So because of this, we have GS3 Science and Technology paper, and recent prelims we could identify that the science and tech questions has been increasing. So we can expect some main question on biotechnology and other areas as well. So for that reason, that article is important. So next, one of the another most important article and recent time that Supreme Court has spoke about it is tying a knot, a way to untangle even grievous cases. Okay, so this article talks about the idea of domestic stability. Okay, so in case the recent judgments says that in case of to maintain the idea of domestic stability within the country or within a particular place, it is okay to not conduct the trials. So basically, it's not to investigate on the case that is filed against a particular victim or a particular criminal. It is not required. So here they are talking about, in recent times there have been couple of cases where there have been minor rape cases, and because of the minor rape cases or because of the murder, the person who has committed that crime has done a good thing to solve that crime that he done. So basically, for an example, here there is the person who has killed another person, and on that reason he has again tried to provide support by marrying her sister or the victim's sister. So here, to maintain the peaceful in that society, if they all agree to do it, then you should not conduct a trial for the murder is what the article suggests. So again, the Supreme Court has been dealing on this. Again, one more case is that there has been a minor rape, and because of that minor rape, should we punish that criminal, or since that minor person has been married the minor girl, so because of that reason should we let them to live a peaceful life instead of punishing that fellow, putting into jail and spoiling their happy life. So this question has to be answered and to be understood. So we could be asked any topic on this doctrine. So again, GS3 and GS2. Okay, right down the line we'll go with the next article. Again, this is literally what is happening with India, Russia and Ukraine. So because of that reason, we have to know what is happening in what kind of war we are heading in, and this is not important because the former, everybody knows Sri Lanka economic crisis is there. But if you want to understand this article, just read the economic crisis, what is happening in the Sri Lanka. And because of the crisis, Sri Lanka amends the law to remove the bidding for the energy projects. So earlier there have been different types of policies they followed with respect to how do they generate bidding for the energies, but now because of the economic crisis they understood that their policies need to be amended. So because of that, what they are trying to do. Okay, and again, demilitarize the Aegean Islands, Erdogan. So here it is a conflict between Turkish and Greece. So which island? I hope you should refer the map. So because of that, you can read this article, but not further important to make notes. You can understand what has happened, because even in recent times, UPSC has asked a question telling that. Even in recent times, UPSC has asked the question to Senakaku Island, which is in conflict between Japan and China. So in this year prelims. So they might ask this state islands also could be in crisis, or which is between which two countries. So because of that reason, this is also an important article. Okay, so Thailand is the first Asian country to legalize weed or marijuana. So this is something that they call that it is a chemical substance that is going to give a tetrahydrocannabinol. So you have to know what the substance, why it is related, and they have legalized it to use it on their regular food products and stuff. So because of that, this article is important, because this can, even Thailand and us, we do have a very close relationship. We could see that these stuffs could be illegally transited into India, which could affect the India's peace also. So we have to know what is happening in our neighborhood. Okay, I think we are good for the day. I think thanks. So team believers, today's news analysis for the. Thank you.